This is a ranked game. 2400? Yeah, high gold. We're looking at Anna, means Sparrow player. They mentioned Quickscopes, so we'll keep an eye on that. Other than that, we'll see what we see. Okay, Rialto, look at the comps. You're playing very brawl heavy tanks. Very short range. Okay, so that either means you're going to need to, with your team, grouped up with them in order to get peel, or you need to be playing sort of literally in Narnia, or playing by the turret, like Torb's turret. But you're playing a very close range comp, so you're going to want to play more. You're going to end up playing closer to your tanks and closer to your team than you otherwise would. Right, and obviously you need scouting info. But the shorter range to the team, the closer you have to be for them in order to peel you, right? Low mobility, low range, right? So that's something to take into account. If we're looking at the enemy's team, we'll see if they change it here. Did they change anything? Okay, awesome. Right, so they have pretty much a dive comp with a Kree in the back line, so for poke. But they're going to be able to dive you really easily, so your team is going to be aiming to either run at them, right? Or they're going to be punishing them when they do dive. So your job is to survive the initial dive, right? Positioned to a way that they won't dive you, or so that your team can peel for you either with bubbles or just like the output, the damage they output, right? But you need to survive these dives. Okay, so let's talk about it a little bit. If I'm looking at their comp right now, I'm thinking, okay, I want to save. If we're running at them, I can use nade aggressively, but I might be forced to use it defensively. But I'm gonna for sure want to save sleep. Right, should not be aggressive with sleep unless they're a jump and a half away and they literally are not anywhere near you. Right, but otherwise we're looking to use nade defensively, nade aggressively, and then sleep defensively. Right, that's pretty standard, but you might be forced to use nade defensively to keep yourself alive because they have so much dive. Right, because they can burst you down. Right, so saving nades to look for opportunities, but using it to keep yourself alive is also going to give you lots of value here. Okay, typically you're going to get most value by using nade aggressively, but when you're playing versus dive, if they use dash, deflect, jump, bubble, diva boosters, micro missiles, and they don't kill you as a flex support after diving you, right, your team is typically going to win that, right? So if you can survive the initial burst, that gives your team a lot of value with nade, right? And if they jump you and they don't DM you, then you hit the nade on top of yourself, you keep yourself alive, maybe hitting an anti on the Winston as well, right? So you're going to be forced to use things more defensively here, but look for those opportunities, right? If they can't even touch you, right? If they're jumping halfway, look to use nade aggressively. Okay. Okay. So a little while ago when we were talking about Mercy, right? I was saying how I don't want you peeking sightlines like this. First of all, you need info because they could be running Echo, Hanzo, Widow, Ashe, anything, right? This is potentially dangerous because you don't have the information on what they're running. Okay, but when we're talking about Mercy, I was saying how you should, right, have a different angle. So cut off the angles where they could potentially shoot you from, right? So if you're positioned over here, like on the chair, right, you can heal your Zarya, heal your Mercy, heal your Torb, right, and they can't shoot you. Whereas if you're here and you're just healing your tanks, it's not much use, right? So what you should be doing is like here, healing Mercy, Zarya, Torb, peek out if you want to get aggressive with it, right? Or be here, and then peek, shoot, peek, shoot, peek, shoot, right? Same concept with Mercy, right? Peek to retouch the beam, peek to keep it attached, peek, cover, right? Same thing with Ana, peek, shoot, right? If you're just healing your team, and you're focused on healing them, there's no need to peek, right? Right? Especially if you don't know what they have. Right? So that's super important. Okay. Wrong one. Right. So they're within one jump range, so I wouldn't have needed there, I would have held it. And in this case, you should be looking to shoot them. Right? They're walking up, shoot them, get some shots in. Right, Mercy's here. She can heal you. She's going to heal and damage with Torb, right? They're playing at here. They're coming. If they're on bridge, right? They're coming in spawn. Take some shots. Free out charge, right? And then when they get close and they're actually able to start poking you guys down, then back up, give some space, focus on healing your tanks, right? And I would also be backing up here. I would either back up into this hallway or I would back up over here, right? This is probably the safer one. You back up here if you're gonna look for a more aggressive like nade play down here, right? Or if you're up, right? If you're gonna play more passively and you just want to play to live, right? 100% you just want to live, you just come this way, right? Because then you drop off, you're in this, right? Your Ryan's there, your team can follow you, you got lots of cover, no threats, right? Over here, if they jump you, you're not getting out here, right? You only have one option, and that is to go down here, right? So this is a much more aggressive play, and this is the safer defensive rotation, okay? But I would just have you over here, right? Backing away from them, making sure that they can't jump you as easily, they can't see you, right? You're able to heal your tanks, heal your Mercy, your Torb, whatever, right? But you shouldn't be on top of them here, right? So use both your cooldowns aggressively there, which is not good because they still could have, like nade was fine because you had an opportunity because you're up players, but the sleep is, they still have their movement, right? So you want to save that sleep. Kill the Kree. You should be looking for Kree. Yeah, and we'll get about some of like the mouse movements and stuff right now in a minute here. Right, so like that whole stretch, when you're moving your mouse around, it looks like you're almost like picking your mouse up a lot, or you're trying to, right? Like it looks like your DPI or your sense isn't high enough, which is why I asked about that in DMs, right? Right. So if we looked at the Kree where you just not even like reacting to him, right? And it was like super slow, and then trying to track the Genji and follow him was also very stiff, right? Load. Right, that's a good nade, that's fine. This would be where you're quickscoping, right? Either scope to shoot the Genji or quickscope him, and you can also quickscope the Zarya here. These are some examples where you should be quickscoping. Walking away, that's fine. Reset high ground. You should reset high ground right now. That was too aggressive because, I mean the nade was too aggressive because you guys can't follow up on it, right? Easy for the D.Va to eat, you guys aren't going to make any progress with it, right? The one last fight was better because your team was in range to actually make use of it, right? The nade, this nade is just, you know, wasted, right? There's no reason for it. Your team can't follow up on it. Sure, it gives you a little bit of extra charge, but it's more important to have it, right? Plus it's against easy eat. I don't like that sleep, even though you hit someone. Right, very aggressive. Okay, again, should be like peek shoot, right? Corner, peek shoot, right? Or back here, when your team's at the front corner, right? You're shooting them, the enemy team can't pressure you, right? Without jumping, right? You could also play under here if you wanted to be safe, right? Because you have the mini, right? You still got the mini. Your team would be in front of you on the corner. It's gonna be hard for them to get to you to dive you, right? Cover, sight lines, you can heal your team, you got the mini to protect yourself, and you're close enough to your team where they can heal for you. So, right? Yeah, you took the TP, yeah. So if we're talking about amp positioning, so we'll use like some fundamental stuff. Always want your tanks in between the main threat, right? And you should be in an area where they can peel for you unless the enemy team literally cannot press you, right? So if you're let's say you're on these stairs and your team is holding this corner and the enemy is trying to walk this corner, right? And they're playing like Ryan's area as well, right? Ryan's area match. You don't need to be close to your team because the enemy team literally can't pressure you, right? But you always want to have that in-between source, right? And you need to be in a range where your team can peel for you, right? Or someone can peel for you, right? If you're not peeling through your positioning. And that's like tanks peeling through space and positioning is a higher concept, so I won't get into that, but right. And the other things you need to look at are escapes. Do you have escapes? Health packs, right? Next source of healing and escapes, right? Do you have a support with you? Is your support able to heal you, right? Is Mercy able to fly to you? Is she in range, right? Can Zen see you? Can Bap see you? Can Lucio get you? Are you in his aura, right? Those things, right? Or can I go to a health pack? Or where can I run to, right? If you're over here, I can run up here. All right, okay. No health pack up here, but I could drop down here and get the mega in here, right? So route of escape, you get back to your team, wherever they end up being, right? Or where they're gonna regroup, which would be over here anyway. And you have a health pack here, right? Right, if you go back to this one, health pack, team can peel for you, escape, right? You have a pathway out, you have a health pack, and your team can peel for you, right? And you're being effective, that's the most important thing, right? If you have to give up one of those things, like if you can't play near a health pack because you need to be in a different position to help your team, helping your team and being effective in the fight is more important than having like a health pack, right? Those are some general guidelines, okay? Missing it, it's whatever. You're very slow. Like it's very slow to like react to some of this stuff, right? Also, you may want to look at your nano sensitivity because that, yeah, that's weird. So I'm okay with the TP. I'm okay with like the flank here. Using nade on the flank play is fine, but again, very punishing because they have dive and they can capitalize on that. I would have gone up there where the torp is, right? So you can play here, sure, but you could also rotate up here. So again, you're with your torp, you're with turret, so you have that sort of peeling, right? You're on a high ground, which means they have to use movement abilities to get to you. You can run back here if you want, which means you got another escape here, right? You got the escape just along here, the normal escape, or you have the escape of the TP, and you have a health pack here, right? So you're seeing those concepts, health pack, next source of healing, right? Escape route, right? People who can peel for you. I mean, it's unlucky that she ate it, but like you shouldn't have slept her there anyway, right? Because if they dive you, if Genji dives you, D.Va dives you, Winston's and Primals who get turn around and jump you, right? Then you need that sleep. I think you guys just win this. His ults. Ults and the fact that the enemy's not using theirs, and they're trying to play dive. Right side. Right side. This hallway is actually super important for a lot of things. You should path here. It's quicker, safer. Actually, I want to see how you killed the Genji with that sleep. Or not the Genji, the Kree. What was he doing? Oh, did he get booped up by the Rhine pin? Is that why? Gets pushed by the Rhine pin. Tries the high noon, so he can't strafe. And then you get the sleep on him for the CC kill. And, yeah, cool. So you're looking for a nade, which is good. Why is that nade good? Think about it. Think about what I said. 3, 2, 1. It's good because your Zarya and your Sim are playing aggressive here, right? So they can actually follow up and do something with this nade, right? So I want to make sure you're not just throwing out nades randomly, right? Throwing out abilities is a good way to like use them more and be more accurate with them over time and blah 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 whatever, right? But it's also important that you're not just like throwing them away and wasting them, right? Timing. The timing of your abilities is important. Right? That sleep was okay because they're literally not even gonna fucking be able to get to you, right? Your Zarya is just spawn camping them. Your Zarya Smurf? Yeah, she is. Right? But they can't get to you, so using the nades there is fine, right? And even sleep there is okay because they literally can't get to you. Now they can get to you. But it doesn't matter at this point because the map's over. Aiming too low. Yeah. Right? So even here, when you use both abilities super aggressively, they're able to dive you and kill you, right? So that's why it's important that you have one at least. Usually sleep. Sleep is better defensively and needs better aggressively to use it on the offense, but whatever, right? In that case, it was okay because the fight was literally won at that point, right? They had to come to a point, they have to expend all their shit to get there, they're gonna die, right? So barring some miracle or some stupid ranked shenanigans, right, you're gonna win that fight. So it's not as actually that big a deal, right? But you see how even when they were rushed to get to point and it was like a staggered fight and it was like a 2v6 or something, they're still able to kill you because you didn't have one of your resources, right? You were punished for it, but it didn't matter in the end, right? So keep an eye on that, right? If you can be punished, right, or they can jump you, or you need sleep for something specific, save it. If you don't, if a team is running brawl, right, no mobility, everyone's super static, fucking yeet, sleep and nade. Easy. Okay. This is ranked, so I don't have to worry about any of the fucking workshop code shit. Awesome. I think this was quick, so we'll get through this quick. They're running bash and shit, like... High ground, good. Yeah. Right, don't stand in one spot, don't hard scope it. Right, peek shoot, peek shoot, peek shoot. Right, even here. Why are you standing open? Why not be over here and heal your team? Right, if you're focusing on healing them, why not just go over here and cut the angle, right? Cut the angles. Cut the angles. Right? If you're going to be aggressive and you're going to shoot the enemy team, sure. Right? But even over here, peek shoot is going to be safer, right? Because cover. Right? Peek shoot. Peek shoot. Right? You have the options. That was unlucky. Though actually quite a good idea. Go on a flank. I want you to go on a flank right now. Yeah. So you actually have several options here. So I'm saying go on a flank because they only have one shield and they're playing as Zarya, which means you can get a nasty sleep and a nasty nade, right? If you're able to hit them, okay? The easiest way you're going to be able to do that is through flanking, okay? You're going to make a huge impact and it'll help you determine like when to flank and stuff. So if they can't press you or they have like very little map control, go flank, right? You're not doing as much here, right? You'd have more of an impact if you hit a nade or a sleep into this room, right? Which would be huge. Okay, so let's talk about your flank options right now. You got this on, right? Over here, this is if you still kind of want to help your team, but also want to create an off angle for yourself, right? So you're healing, peak sleep, right? Or peak nade, right? And using both aggressively here is fine because they have no mobility. They can't punish you for it, right? you want to use them aggressively because they can't capitalize on you not having them, or it's very difficult for them to, right? So this is your first option, right? And you can do like a shallow off angle or a shallow flank and just be here. You can take a deeper flank and be here. Walking up here would be pretty much be suicide, so don't do that, right? Over here, right? But let's think about your Ana position things that we said before, right? Retreat, next source of healing, right? That could be support, that could be health pack, whatever. Peel. You don't need peel because they're not able to pressure you, right? They can't really pressure you unless the Mei hits like an ice block or something, or like an icicle or something, right? They don't have a lot of ways to pressure you, right? And even if they do, you have cover, right? Cover, 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 right? Area of retreat, next source of healing, right? But you can't go super deep this flank, okay? Next flank would be TP up, right? Which I think is what you tried to do before. TP up, peek over the edge, nade down, right? Peek over this edge, nade down, go. Easy, right? You can also take this one. You're gonna wrap around all the way around. You'd probably just do this one here and then flank from here, right? You could also, if you want to be super safe, you could wrap around the stairs and come up here, right? Or you could come over here and get the like complete flank, right? Super hard flank. Okay. Those are kind of your main options. Okay. So those are the for flanking. You actually have another couple options, right? Your another option without flanking would be to try to hit a nade up here. Now it's more difficult, right? And you'd want to like splash it on the top of Ryan's shield, or like just on the ceiling here. Very difficult, right? But those are your other options, right? You could still do that same thing if you want to take high ground. So like you're over here, you try and Kobe a nade like behind them, right? So land it like right on here, right? Just over the Ren shield, right? Or you're up here, you throw it as Ren drops his shield here, or you try to again Kobe it, right? But those are harder. Okay. So the best way for you to make an impact here is going to be to flank. And you're flanking with your Hanzo, that's great. It's even better. Their Mei runs away. You should have waited to nade, but yeah, that's fine. Yep. So, great flank. Great flank. Okay. Problems with it are you woke the Bastion up too soon. Okay? Because they had Lamp and he was ulting, so why not wait? Right? And you literally like ran in here. Right? You don't need to be in this room to sleep in. Right? You could be here, sleep, and then you're over here. Right? You're still holding the off angle. Right? You have cover. Right? You can come back here. Right? You have cover. You have a source of healing. You can escape. Right? But it's super risky to run in there and then just like try to run away back to your team like that. I think you guys just win though. Don't be on top of cart. Nice. Shoot nade first. Shoot nade. Good sleep. Predictable, but yeah, good sleep. Make sure you shoot nade. Shoot nade. Don't stand on top of cart. I don't know. Again, I don't know what is up with supports and standing on top of carts. Don't stand on top of cart. It's really bad. Right? If you want to push it, stand behind it. Right? Stand on this side. Peek shoot. Right? Peek shoot. You have cover. Right? On top of it, no cover. Right? They swap widow, you're dead. Right? Mei hits an ice block on you. Well, now you have to use nade to keep yourself alive. Right? Don't stand on top of cart. Stand behind it if you really want to push cart. Right? If you have no one else pushing cart and it's your job to push cart, stand behind it. Do not stand on top of it, please. Yeah, again, shoot nade. Okay. Let's go into training range because we need to. Okay. So like the mess movement was a thing. I want you to try to like speed it up. Okay. So the first thing is going to be I want to make sure let's do Ana just so we're staying consistent. So first thing is I want you to think about your crosshair placement a little bit. I know Overwatch, this isn't Valorant, this isn't CS, but still your crosshair placement's important, right? If you're aiming down here and you have to come up here, that's longer time, right? If I'm down here, it takes longer. If I'm already here, right, or if I'm already like just below it, much quicker, right? Right, so I want you to try to get used to play. It's almost like a 90-degree angle, right? So your body is one side, and then your gun should be pointing straight out, right? Try to get straight out, okay? Right. And then if you're adjusting to a different angle, then you can adjust it, right? You think someone's coming up there, right? Kind of aim, right? You don't need to worry about getting head height, but I want you to try to like predict where you're gonna aim a little bit sooner, right? So even if like you're turning a corner, you're like, okay, I know I'm gonna aim in that general direction, right? So maybe I start over here, right? Not exactly accurate, but it's closer, right? So I want you thinking, being more aware of your crosshair placement and when you're going around, okay? So you can do that by just doing it in the training range, but also like in rank and scrims is also important, okay? And if we're talking about quickscopes, make sure that you like come into the practice range and do a couple, right? If you're just learning them, just already target them, practice the quickscope, right? If you want to give it a little bit harder after you've warmed up a little bit, like adjust a little bit, right? A little bit of a flick, right? Then add movement, right? A little bit away, movement. I'm probably not gonna hit all these, but right? Right, but add some movement to make it more difficult, right? But line it up, just to practice, right? Little micro flicks. If I can hit it, obviously I can't, okay. Right, so stationary, do it, warm up, right? Add a little bit of movement, flick, and then strafing, right? That's kind of what you're doing to warm up. Or that's what you should be doing to kind of practice with the quick scoping. Make sure you get the time down, okay? And then as for continue with like the mouse movement, right? I just want you to get used to moving around, right? So one thing I used to do was like I'd look at here, flick, flick, right? Flick, back, right? You need to be careful that you're not like building a habit of like flicking and flicking off, right? Because that can be dangerous. Right? Right? But just, right? Practice some of these flicks. You don't need to move to start off with, and then if you want to make it a little bit harder, right? Start moving. Right? You can do unscoped, you can do scoped, and then you can do the quick scope again. Right? But pick a spot that you want to kind of try and flick from, flick to the target. Okay? Practice 90-degree flicks like from here, right? I'm a little bit out of practice, but yeah, right? 90-degree flicks. You could do like 180s, right? For sleeps, right? But crosshair placement, just trying to keep it a little bit more level. Pre-aim, so if you know you're shooting over there, trying to get as close as possible, right? And then just like little drills, right? Flicks, adjustments, like you have the micro ones, you have the 40-degree ones, 90 degrees, sorry, 180, right? And we talked about how like, how I like to do, typically for me, I do one swipe of the mouse is a full 360-degree turn, right? Sometimes it's a little bit more, but like roughly that's what it is, okay? So if I do this, line it up here, right? I do a full swipe. Again, trying to, you notice how I'm trying to keep it level, right? I get to about here, right? So pretty close to a full 360, right? And depending on the game or how I'm feeling, then I'll adjust it. In some games I have it a little bit higher, so means I think Overwatch is one of the lower ones I have, right? But about a 360. So I know that a 90-degree turn is going to be about half my mouse pad, right? Or sorry, 180. 180 is going to be about half my mouse pad. I know 90-degree angle is going to be about a quarter. Right? You don't typically think about those things when you're aiming, but The other thing you can do is, this is a pretty common one. I think IDDQD did this. Someone else did this. I did not make this up. But typically it's like Cree, and you go like here, there, right? Take off each one, like one shot into each dummy, right? One shot up there, one shot here, 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 over here, and you're just kind of going around, right? It works best with Cree because he's a 6 shooter, has 6 bullets, right? But gotta use this there, right? But it's just like getting used to it, right? So I'm adjusting. I know there's someone here, and there's gonna be one here, and then you kind of just speed it up as you go, right? Start slow, and then I can go faster, right? So I'm not gonna miss it because I'm not a Cree player, right? I'm gonna miss. But the idea is to like acquire targets faster, right? And adjust to them. And you know where all the targets are, so it's more predictable. It's easy for you, right? But some of this stuff is like easy warm-ups. You can do 10-15 minutes a day or whatever to get ready for like a scrim, a ranked game, or if you just want to like, you don't really have time to play games, right? But you still want to like work on something. 10-15 minutes in practice range. Again, practice range isn't the best, so there are other things that we can do, right? But this is basics, right? These are good basics. Good little fundamental stuff. Right? Again, not a Cree player. Okay? Yeah, so Crosshair Placement, be aware of it. Warm up, doing little exercises like this. Check your mouse sensitivity and DPI. Keep working on that quickscoping. You can also practice that in training range, right? Keep working on it. It's really important. Your ability usage, if they're playing something that can punish you, make sure that you're saving something to keep yourself alive, right? Think about your positioning. Next source of healing, health pack, support. How can your team peel for you? And escape route, right? Okay, so I hope all that stuff helped. So for you, Sparrow, I hope that helped. If you have any more questions, like DM me. And I hope that helped anyone else who watched this. And if anyone who watches this has any questions, feel free to put anything in the comments or message me on Twitter or Discord or whatever. Okay, I will see you all later. Peace.